I can drive. Good evening, everybody, and Merry Christmas to those of you that celebrate, and Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Kwanzaa, and Happy Holidays to all. Apparently, I've even been told this too, is that it is also Festivus, which we talked about last show, but it is officially upon us.
Was there a date actually established on?
I don't know. I just
Okay.
know from the Twitterverse that there is considered Festivus. So
Oh, great.
happy Festivus for the rest of us.
Yes, I've got a lot of problems with you people.
Yeah.
All
We're
right.
gonna air our grievances some other time.
You're right. Not today.
Not today. Not today at all. So anyway, that's not why you it is why you called, but anyway, happy to be here tonight. I am welcome to the Nerd Ensemble, and I am one of your co-hosts tonight, Mr. Don Kovac, and I'm calling myself Mr. I'm on break. Whatever. It
You
doesn't
need to
matter.
hear it. You need to hear it.
No,
Yeah.
I just would have preferred to redo that. Anyway, and I'm here with my much more awesomer and much more Mr. Brett Dean. Brett, how are you, man?
How can you even say that? I don't have cool lighting. There's no way I'm cooler.
Yes, you are cooler. You have a better microphone. You have you came up with this cool background that the audience is seeing right
That
here.
I did. That I did. But
You're promoting us on the Webiverse here, but it's not Web3 yet.
I don't know. Is it?
I think it's over both of our. We'll figure it out, but right now, not worried about it.
No.
So it is. If you're watching this live, it is the night before Christmas, and all through the house. Well, whatever. Nothing's happening right now because it's the night before.
Not a MacBook Pro fan was wearing. Not even. I don't know. There's nothing. I can't go anywhere with that rhyme, but
it's tough. It's tough. Can workshop it a little bit here as we go.
Yeah.
How's that?
Okay. That's what it's good radio. We'll do that for a while. All right.
That's might as well. So tonight we're just going to go wherever the wind blows. Frankly, we would like to think that this is not our year-end show. Because
we could talk a little bit about maybe some wish listing for the new year.
Okay.
I certainly would like to get that underway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't know if we would want to talk about that in the next show. That's all I mean. Like,
oh my gosh, we could do that this show and next show. There's so much.
Okay.
We could. That could go on for days.
Days and months.
Yes.
And years.
Yes, with all these first world problems that we have here, we could dream up all kinds of things that we don't need.
This is true. And I like how you frame that, because I think it's really important for us to reiterate that we know that this is the topics of this show are very first world, and we don't mean to set that precedent. This is just stuff that we are super nerdy about, and that's a caveat that we want to set. If it does bother you or offend you, we do apologize, but these are our interests, and this is our outlet. So hopefully it can live within that frame. At any rate, so how's your Christmas shopping going?
Christmas shopping this year was fine. Despite everything that's going on, I was able to get everything, that my family was looking for. There were some tech things that I can't quite talk about yet. But, stuff is like generally held to the timetables they said it was going to get delivered by. So,
Nice.
I, you know, to say that I ran into some of the troubles where people are talking about supply chain, like you better have ordered it in August or you weren't going to get it in time. I haven't really seen that, but maybe some other people want to jump in here if they've had some experience, some bad experiences this Christmas or holiday season. Getting those goods for their family members or themselves. Yeah, I think it's generally okay out there. How what's your experience been like this year?
Well, there was one year where I literally did order everything for delivery,
Mm-hmm.
and that was probably 3 or 4 years ago. But this year has turned out to be a very similar type of
Mm-hmm.
situation. And today, for the first time, I did curbside pickup at
Ooh.
a local
Yep.
big box chain
Uh-huh.
retailer. Um, and I'm doing it again tomorrow for another gift, and then I will be donezo. Um, but my goal was to try to get as much of it online as possible. And to be honest, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your feelings on this company, of course, the large distributor company from Washington that sells books and things. Um,
Oh, that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that so far everything has gone off without a hitch,
Mm-hmm.
other than my own hitches in completing the orders. Um, turns
Mm-hmm.
out, helpful rule: when you sit down to actually order the products, like sit down and like take your time rather
What happened?
than
I feel like there's a story.
well, it's just more like, okay, so my sister lives down in Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I go to order some gifts to be sent to them, input the address, make sure that's all good. But apparently, when I went to submit the order, I never actually formally changed the shipping address location. I thought I clicked use this address, did not. So those products ended up here, which is not Florida. Um, so it was a user error on my end as I went back and reviewed the order that I actually placed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I should have been more strategic with it just to save that because it did cost another $30 to ship them. But
That's a
so just
hefty
things like
shipping
that.
charge these days.
Yeah. It would have been better off to go ahead, return the products, reorder them, and just send them to Amazon.
I hear you.
But
Yeah, 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 yeah.
at any rate, um, but yeah, everything got here when it said it was going to get here, and so far, I believe I have everything I had ordered. So, uh, my goal is to spend almost no time in stores, and so far,
I did not. Maybe it. Okay, look, let's pretend for a moment, everybody. Let's pretend that COVID had gone away. Let's pretend. I think. I think I trained myself accidentally not to go in stores. Like even stores that have a retail location, I've been just ordering stuff from. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
one of those big box electronics retailers that may or may not be Best Buy. Like I'll just order stuff from them now. Whereas I used to like going in, but now I don't really like going in anywhere. And I don't know. It's I'm kind of a homebody anyway. So I'm not, I don't have a predisposition for going to just shopping, tech stores would have been the exception to that rule, obviously.
sure.
I would like just go in there and browse and stuff like that, but that's about the only time I would like to do that. But now I don't even want to do that. It's like, I've become good enough at finding things online that even like you say, if they do have a brick and mortar location, usually I'll do curbside like you know, or
Mm-hmm.
or have it like Best Buy also does like a pre-order thing too, where you can just run
That's
in,
true.
show them the order on your phone, and then you're out. You know.
Yeah, and being too where you are, I can't imagine that there's a whole lot of stuff that's like close by. Like you have to go a little bit to get to
Yeah.
stuff.
Apparently, we're not alone here because my buddy James Wenzel popped in on the chat. He said he's made enough order errors online that he likes to go into shop.
Aha.
You know, to prevent, accidentally clicking shipping it to Florida or Saskatchewan or wherever you may end up sending it to.
Hey, James, I can't argue with that, man. But then the downside of that is you have to then go in and you have to be either way. I guess it shows my lack of preparation on this whole thing. Because if I was going to 5 different stores to get 5 different gifts for 5 different people or whatever, I'd still have to sit down and plan it out. Okay, I have to go here first, and so so yeah, the rule I think here, and thanks James for bringing that up, is that planning is a good thing. Turns out,
unless you're doing a tech podcast show, and then winging it's kind of fun, as we're doing tonight. Although planning is good for that too, I will say yes.
We'll work on. All right, the next show is going to be so well planned. Just you wait. I'll even do a note stock and everything. Okay, so there.
Okay, all right.
That's where I will, instead of I'll take the planning that I should have done for my holiday shopping, and I'll apply it to this show, and it will be a really mediocre show because I'm involved in it. But that's not important right now.
Don't put that on you. Don't put that on you. Don't worry about
that. No, I know. I'm just. I guess I'm get a little bit too self-deprecating. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, it's good to hear that everything is going well on that side of things for you, thus far.
Yeah. I'm holding true with it. Let's do this here. You know what I want to do? I want to provoke you a little bit here. I'm going to share something here. Let's share a screen. Let's get oh yeah, there we go. Let's do a little bit of that. Looky there.
Oh. Okay.
M3
I did
Max.
See this. Like, I feel like we've barely talked about M2.
Right.
And now we're already like, this just came out today. I did see this come up earlier today. M3 on a 3 nanometer process. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the M1 is
it's still 5, right?
Is it on 5? And I'd heard a couple weeks ago that potentially the M2 would not move off of off of the 5 nanometer either. I'm Googling currently.
Yeah, you know what's going to be tricky about this naming scheme? My brain always, for some reason, and I'm not sure why, it always goes to like the marketing angle of this whole thing. And oh my gosh, I don't envy Apple. The problem they've gotten themselves into with the naming of this is if you shell out big dollars right now to get the M1 Max,
like or the computer I'm talking to you on.
Right. And now there's an M2 regular. You have mixed feelings, because you're like, well, I have the Pro chip, I have the Max chip, but it's not a 2, mine's just a 1, so then that little bug gets in your head. I don't know what you do about that. Intel, for all their faults, was able to kind of hide behind some of that because the name of the chip, like Core i7, Core i5, Core i3, Core i9, that stuff didn't Xeon. That stuff didn't really change from year to year. It was just the generation of the chip. So there was like multiple layers they could hide behind in the naming of those chips. And with the M3, I mean, okay, again, maybe that comes out at the end of 2022. And at the end of this year, you just forked over big money to buy an M1 Max. Do you see the weirdness that creates?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think it's a problem?
Well, it depends on quite a few things. Funny enough, one of the things that, and this sort of relates to what you're saying, is for guys like us, or and I'm going to speak specifically for a guy like me. Yeah, I still have the 2 MacBook Pros. They're going to be going back next week.
Both?
Yes.
Oh.
Because what I'm noticing, I mean, this is the first time I've touched either of them since the weekend. And granted, it's, other focuses in life right now, no doubt. And not
Okay,
even
but what have you been using then?
Nothing.
Oh. You're going
my
unplugged?
Phone.
Oh, your phone, yeah. Okay.
But I wasn't doing anything work related because
yeah, but these aren't
and
normal weeks either. These are weeks where you don't have to be on your tech. But when you are on your tech because of work, don't you want to be on that 14-inch MacBook Pro?
it doesn't make that. Yeah, I liked using them. I'm going to miss using them. But it for the stuff, certainly for the stuff that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, they don't make that much of a difference. And so certainly you and I are folks that hold on to our Macs for a long time. I still, my 15-inch from 2014 still right there and still gets used. And the M1 right over here was a huge leap forward from that. So for guys like us that tend to keep our Macs for a long period of time, the M1, I even read rumors, I don't know if you saw this too, that they were only going to refresh the chip every 18 months, la the iPad Pro.
Which kind of makes this M3 business sound kind of hokey to me. But even so, it does raise the question, is it a naming scheme that is almost a little intolerable,
Well,
unless will the general public understand that the base chips, like an M2 base chip, is probably still not going to match up to an M1 Max,
right? Or Pro even,
right?
Necessarily, because it's not the same league. It's not trying to be the rightful comparison. Is the M1 versus the M2. Right. That's the right comparison.
Oh yeah.
Right. And this is the same thing as the M2 Pro versus the M1 Pro, the M2 Max versus the M1 Max, excuse me. So those are the comparisons year over year.
Yeah.
When we were so hungry for year over year to have a much better Intel chip than the previous time, and with sometimes the longer time frames in between generations of chip, we were hankering for all the speed that we could possibly get. And certainly,
it was miserable. Yeah, it was miserable.
Right. And so now M1 to M2, M2 to M3, and then all of the chips on top of that, the Pro and the Max and the Duo, whatever the next ones are, the Extreme, whatever the double chip is, or the quad chip is, those, yeah, you're adding speed, but for our workflows, is that really going to be needed? Is that something like, you and I, until this year, I've gotten the new iPhone every year, and I know you weren't on that train for all the time, but now you've gone 2 years in a row with getting the new phone. Like, do you, in terms of the chip performance, do you notice a huge difference between your 13 versus your 12?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
In what ways?
Oh boy. I don't know. Gosh. That one's hard to tell, but in real world performance, I think it held up better. And maybe part of that too was driven by its battery isn't on the ropes constantly like the 12s. The 13 holds prime battery power, for much longer. Other than that, I mean, it's probably subtle things too that don't necessarily, but kind of also have to do with the chip. Face ID seems faster, those kind of things. So it's more like real world. It's not just the chip. That's what makes that one hard, And I guess it'll sort of be the same with the Max. Yeah, I don't know.
Because think of it this way. You're talking right. So you're talking about other factors beyond just the chip, beyond just the processor. You're talking about battery, and that the processor does play a role in that. Graphics, same thing, obviously, because these chips are systems on a chip. So let's say, okay, so supposedly the A14 to the A15 was on paper a comparatively minor jump. Okay.
Yes.
Year over year. But so what I was curious about, and maybe you don't have this answer, something to think about is, do you notice those differences on certain apps, or there's certain apps or certain workflows or certain, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where the year over year that like, because the M1s obviously are a huge leap forward from previous Intel, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, and then the M1 Pro and the M1 Max, at least I can speak to those versus the M1, are a nice bump forward. So the next generation, the M2, I don't expect the M2 and Pro Max, whatever else, to be a major leap forward in the way that the Intel to the Apple Silicon transition.
Sure. So we need to untrain ourselves to think that a 1 year generation shift is going to be mind blowing.
Right. It'll be nice. I would not hesitate, a 15 to 20% performance improvement, particularly in certain workflows. Just the same as you can look at the 11, 12 years of Apple Silicon on the iOS side as proof positive of what will it look like year over year. Yeah, it will be better, but is it going to be the kind of thing for guys like us where it's just like, okay, my M1 is clearly, I need to go to the M2 thing. I need to trade this thing, be done, sell it, whatever, and move, Could I see, yeah, I'm going to get rid of these two computers. okay, I'll still have my M1 Pro, my M1 MacBook Pro, and use that. But then when I look at it like down the road, well, I'd be like, all right, a bigger jump would be for me, like maybe M1 MacBook Pro to the M2,
Mm-hmm.
right? Pro, the M2 Pro. That ought to be a much bigger jump than just,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe it'll get to the point kind of where it was, where Mac users get used to, we'll have to feel it out. We'll have to
Mhm.
see, benchmarks and things like that. That's how we do feel these things out, because you can't buy every generation of everything, unless you are a billionaire. But we'll begin to see what that feels like, and then maybe you realize, okay, I'm now 3 generations behind the current new one. It's time, and then
Sure.
okay, M4, okay, that's my year. When it gets to that, then I switch, or then you get the M4, and then you're like, okay, the M7 or 8, that's my year. That's when I got to jump, and you can sort of base it off that. But we'll have to see. We don't know what that
Right.
looks like yet. And we don't know if it is an 18-month turnaround or a 12-month turnaround. Those are all rumors yet. Speaking about rumors, let's take a look at this one.
Yeah, I didn't
Um,
catch this.
so, what do you think about this being the potential design for the 14 with a punch hole Face ID camera, and then the bump on the back being reduced to just the rings around the cameras, a la the old, going back to gosh, we'd have to go back to the 6S to get something like that,
Yeah, I
where it
think
was
so.
just the rings. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think that's
and I
terrific. If that's what it ends up being, that's awesome in my book.
which begs the question, because I had seen these rumors pop up over the last, and the hole punch, like, whoa,
Yeah.
wow, like that's a huge change.
Right.
Even the change from the notch from the 12 to the 13
Mm-hmm.
was, a change, but they haven't done anything with it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is huge. Um, you notice too. Look at the sides. Look at the volume buttons.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't
That's
noticed that
iPhone
until you
4 all
just
over again.
yeah, I hadn't noticed that till you pointed it out, because yeah, it's funny. I always thought it was funny that they went back to the squared off design, and they kept the elongated sort of rectangle sized buttons, but going back to those circular up and down volume buttons. That's interesting. I always did kind of like those, I'll be honest. Um
It- but in terms of usability, like the usability of it's like nowhere near as good
mhm.
as I mean, like it's so easy to reach and to find the volume buttons on my 12 or your
Mhm.
13.
I agree.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's a step back. I mean, it looks like the sleep wake button, the side button
Mhm.
there is just the same.
Yeah.
But to have them much, much smaller, that's a little weird to me. That seems like an odd change.
Yeah, I'm ambivalent towards either one of those. I'm cool with either. I'll have to see, after years of having, the oval shaped or rectangular oval shaped ones.
Hmm.
Now I'm used to that again. But now the other big rumor for this is that it'll be portless, and we'll have to go full wireless on the charging. Now, I don't know if they'll ever pull the trigger on this. I can see them eventually doing it almost out of spite for the EU, because the EU is trying to force the USB-C or nothing spec on everybody, um, including Apple. Apple's not going to be omitted from that. So yeah, I can see them doing that, but the problem is then they almost have to ship a wireless charger in the box, because I don't see Apple relying on everybody's third party wireless charger. They seem to hate that kind of stuff. Um The only reason they're doing it now is they're assuming that you already have an Apple branded uh, wall brick, you know?
Right. But then yeah, I mean, is it going to adopt like MagSafe style, like Mac MagSafe style connection? I've heard it speculated, but I haven't seen it appear in any of these rumors. Um, and to me, I mean, the biggest issue is data transfer. You need data transfer. God
Yeah.
forbid you need to restart your uh, plug in to restore your phone.
Right.
There's a lot of questions to be answered here. Um, it looks cool. I mean, certainly I'll take more screen as long as it's still got proper Face ID.
Mm-hmm.
And if it has Touch ID with it too, that was another rumor that the 14s were gonna have in them. Is that cool? Fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't care if it's in the side button or under screen, whatever.
Yeah, I don't care about that either. Yeah. It would be cool if it's there somewhere, but it's never been a priority for me to really get that back. The only reason it was nice in the first place because it was like a physical marker of where things were on there.
Sure.
Because you were already
It's true.
used to the home button. So if you have to slide your thumb on a glass screen, the usability of that to me is gone anyway. So I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see. One sort of interesting thing I found about these two is reading this. This is the LTPO display. Of course, that's the type of display that the Apple Watch 5, 6, and 7 use to have the always on mode to it. So would beg the question, are they finally going to have some always on sort of functionality to it?
That's cool. How usable do you think that is in a phone versus the watch?
I
I'm
could
not at,
see it being useful, but of course then you're going to, run into more battery life issues. This one, yes, I did see this one today too.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
It's disappointing.
It's very disappointing, especially if you want to call it an iMac Pro. So what you may be getting here is possibly a differentiation between a 27-inch iMac and a mini LED iMac Pro. So maybe there's a screen upgrade or just a name change, name separating difference between the regular 27-inch iMac and the iMac Pro. I wouldn't doubt that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Especially because the M1 24-inch iMacs were such a hit because of the colors.
Yeah.
But it's also weird to me that so the 24-inch is kind of the replacement for the 21.5-inch Intel model, right?
Right.
So it gets an extra 2.5 inches of screen space, but yet the larger iMac stays the same screen size as what you have on your 10-core beast.
Right.
Now, obviously, you wouldn't necessarily add 2.5 inches, but we've heard rumors of
32,
30
right?
inch or 32 inch. Yeah, I heard both of those rumors, and both of them make sense. So it's weird. It's definitely weird.
It's weird because after months of hearing they were going to go mini LED on it, and then this huge drag bomb gets dropped on us this week. The other possibility is that we could look also to the monitor rumors and think, okay, supposedly there are cheaper Apple displays on the horizon. What's the name of their fancy $8 million display that they've got going?
Pro Display XDR.
Yeah, there you go. Gesundheit, by the way.
Thank you.
But they're saying we've heard rumors about a 24-inch model, a 27-inch model, and possibly a 32-inch. Okay, well, the 24 can sit side by side with your 24-inch iMac. A 27 can sit side by side with your 27-inch iMac, and maybe your 32 sits side by side with your 32-inch iMac Pro. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a possibility.
That's true. It doesn't make any sense, but hey, I agree. Like as we've talked about many times, you are a tried and true desktop person. You enjoy your desktops. You want that to be your main machine. I'm not in that place, so I would almost opt for adding a display later and getting the biggest, beefiest, MacBook that I could afford, and go that route. So it will be interesting to see, like, if they do have that kind of lower end, like 27-inch and the colors, just like the 24-inch little one can do, great. But then there's even a higher tier option above that. And then with a display, because if you open up that article with the one above, if you open up, you scroll to the bottom of it right there, see the update at the bottom there. Credible display analyst Ross Young believes that despite the Digitimes report, the upcoming 27-inch iMac will feature a mini LED display.
Makes sense.
And he that was the leaker that leaked these two MacBook Pros that are sitting in front of me to have the mini LED.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to see.
God, there's a lot of stuff hitting right now. A lot of rumors hitting right now. Rumors flying everywhere.
It's rumor season for sure.
You know what? With these displays that keep being rumored, to me, this was the reason why this chin on the 24-inch, the new 24, was kind of a drag. Is because, okay, so you get a new display and you sit it side by side. Now you have a quandary. Do you design the display with the chin, or do you have the display look different sitting side by side with your desktop? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, and as we've discussed, I mean, they need to have the chin because that's where the actual computer is. You could argue that they didn't, and I'm sure we had this conversation when we discussed this when it came out back in April. Like, did we need to make the device so thin that the computer needed to be in the chin?
Right. There's other great places for it. I mean, it could be in the foot pedestal, for God's sake, and just sit just a tiny bit taller, kind of like the old, I've been thinking about that lampshade iMac, because we've got one sitting in, you know what I mean? Where the whole computer was in the base. And what I loved about that thing was you could pivot that display like down right in front of you. You could push it back. Every flip and angle you could get with that thing. And that was fabulous. That's what I want out of a display. Is to be able to position it and move it. And, okay, look, if you're good, this one's on me, Apple. This one's free. Here's a good idea for you. When you go to touchscreen, go back to that system of being able, like with the lampshade Mac, where you could pull it down right in front of you. Then you draw on it, you write on it, and then you put it back. And then you use your keyboard and mouse. To me, that seems like a winner. And then you can stick, like, okay, imagine the base is designed a little bit differently. But chips and things have gotten so small. Look at the picture of those multicolored ones. You could just make it, 2 or 3 centimeters taller there, but then have the display able to move a little bit more freely. And I don't know. Drop the chin.
Yeah. And then, of course, then you're also impacting the speakers as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and I agree with you. Like that Mac was. I remember when I student taught, we had a bunch of those around, and yeah, it was definitely cool. There was you could argue that with these current iMacs, yep, there they are. The G4s, that you had to put the computer in the base to make it, you know, sit correctly on without, falling over or whatever. Plus the size of the technology was much different back then. But I mean, you can literally physically pull the Mac closer, just like I can physically pull this 16-inch Mac closer to me. And okay. So what are you going to do with the base then to make it more solid if you want
so it
to
doesn't
have
fall
that?
over, right?
And because they're so much taller,
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, that's a good point. I never made that connection until you brought that up. So that's a great point. But there, what how do you solve that, Oh, look at this.
Someone I love stories like this. Where someone retrofits. Wow. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so let's zoom in and see what it. Okay, it doesn't say.
It says Apple M1.
It does. I bet they stuck a Mac Mini in there and just wired it to
Yeah.
the display. That's what you'd
Yeah.
have to do.
Probably. I mean, maybe they explain it in the post there.
Yeah. But it looks great.
It does. I mean,
Yeah.
with that, like that, for that to look that good, even on a 20-year-old computer, on a 20-year-old display,
right. That's pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome. That's
Oh yeah, because check this out. They totally do have a Mac Mini in there.
Oh
working,
yeah,
because here's the Bluetooth keyboard. Yeah.
Is that?
Oh,
that's but that looks like that's the old school, the first generation Magic Keyboard, like I have with the batteries in it. Because yours came with, well, you had that one too when you had your old iMac. Yeah,
I did.
Oh my goodness, that is super nerdy. All right, I'm gonna get my eggnog. I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm in control. Hey. So we're gonna look at things that Don doesn't want to look at right now. Oh no, he's back. Okay, Don, I gotta go do the same thing. I will be right back.
So Brett is asking a good question. Okay, so I think we talked about it on our last show that there was a rumor that has come out in multiple places now since last show that Apple is working on a next generation 24-inch display, 27-inch display, and 32-inch display. The original rumors were not clear in terms of, are they standalone displays or are they part of computers? It was really unclear. And then later on, a report came out to say that in one of them would possibly even include like an A13 chip in it, the 32-inch model, which would be the size replacement for the Pro Display XDR. So he's asking a good question. Is that okay? So the idea of a dream setup is you have your 24, 27-inch computer, and then you have your matching 24, 27-inch secondary display. Only one computer, but you've got your external display that you can hook up, and you can have them sitting next to each other and making them look really good. So it certainly may, Brett, kind of going back to what you're saying, it may be a part of the reason why we haven't seen this display yet, because there is that question of designing it. Do we design it to maximize functionality, or like you're saying, aesthetically? Like, do we release it alongside of another computer so that you put one next to the other and they match each other really nicely?
Yeah,
That's
I
a
think there
tough
is some of
question.
that waiting, going on. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
The waiting is the hardest part. Random and weird question for you. Are you
Yes.
on Wi-Fi or are you hardline into on Ethernet on your?
No, I am on Wi-Fi, believe it or not. How about you?
I am also on Wi-Fi, and I know my space is darker because I went with the holiday theme here
Mm-hmm.
today. But I feel like my video is a little bit more pixelated because of it being slightly darker. I could go ahead and increase the
What kind
brightness
of
and
We're probably committing some kind of security breach on your part, but what kind of Wi-Fi system do you have?
just the internet, our internet provider.
Okay.
Nothing too fancy.
A couple of years
We
ago, we
got
did pony up for a Orbi, Netgear Orbi, one of the mesh routers.
uh
Mesh Wi-Fi is bananas. It's great. It's
yeah,
absolutely
that's
fabulous. I mean, it doesn't degrade. I mean, that's the thing is it's got that extra channel for backhaul, and yeah, that part's absolutely fabulous. Um, so can't recommend that highly enough.
yeah, that's good to hear. The good part is that the router's right over there. So it's in the same room as I am,
Yeah.
which naturally kind of chose it that way. And I do actually have a 50-foot Ethernet cable, but I have no way to hardline connect any of these
Yeah, that's
current
true.
Macs. I don't have the USB-C to Ethernet adapter. Um, but
Well, I found
anyway,
something just now that should be on everybody's Christmas list. Look at that bad boy.
yeah, I was just looking into some of this today. I ended up getting myself another Anchor 30-watt brick with one USB-A and one USB-C port, so I can.
Yeah. Oh my God, Don,
Run
this
my
thing's
watch.
$120 though. Holy crap!
Have you
For a
seen the
charger.
price? Have you seen the price of the standalone 140-watt 16-inch charger? Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah. Look it up. Then you'll think to yourself, okay, this is a deal.
Oh God, of course. Oh man.
I'm gonna look it up right now. 16. Wait, 140-watt.
I think I have a 90-watt.
$99 from Apple.
Okay. Which only has one port, everybody. It has one port. This one's got
Right.
four. And
Right.
it's no slouch, too. Now, there is this weird, quirky. Have you seen how this operates then? Like,
Mm-hmm.
the wattage changes depending on how you break it out here. I there's no way I would keep any of that straight longer than 3 seconds. It makes sense to me now, but if I didn't have this chart with me, and I would never look it up after the first time. But still, the thing to know is like, okay, it's 100 watts on its own by itself, but still 50 watts,
Only the left one.
right?
The
Only the
far
left
left
one,
one.
but 50 watts is not bad. I mean, especially when you're also hauling a 30 and a 20 and a 20, that's not bad.
Right. 100%. Like, I could totally see buying one of those and putting it on this desk
Mm-hmm.
because, like, then I can, charge my phone, charge my iPads, and my what will be left is my M1 MacBook Pro, and there you
Mm-hmm.
go. And that
What
would be fine.
what is the wattage on the MagSafe? Is it the fastest option? Probably not, right?
Say again.
What's the wattage on the MagSafe? It's probably not the fastest, right?
On the phones or on the Macs?
On the MagSafe board.
No, the Max is actually that's the only way you can get the full power into this 16-inch that I'm talking to you from.
Wow. Okay.
That's the only way because USB-C has a limitation of 100 watts.
That's right. Okay. Okay.
But MagSafe
Is whatever Apple wants it to be. Got it.
mhm. So with this 14-inch right here, I can do quick charging on either USB-C or MagSafe. And this one came with a 96 watt adapter. But for the 16-inch, I'm charging currently USB-C right now as we speak. Although it has stopped at 80% now that I am on the call with you. But yeah, the only way I can get it to properly fast charge is the MagSafe.
Okay, let's do a rundown quick here because I think we're running up on time. And definitely, we did not get to a wish list, so we definitely have to do one before New Year's.
Should we talk about last minute gifts for the Mac user, or what we think we're going to buy ourselves after the holidays over?
Sounds good. I want to cover quick here. Anything else on this page? This monitor, I want it. Don, you're gonna get that for me, right?
Click on it. No, I'm not because I don't got that money. But
it's only 1440p, so that's kind of dumb.
Yeah, but it's a gaming monitor, isn't it?
Yeah, 240 hertz.
240 hertz. Yeah,
that's pretty nice.
Display port and USB inputs. Huh.
I just wish they'd have it. What's the vertical resolution? Let me see. What's my vertical resolution here? I wish you could get that. This is going to sound perverted when I say it. I wish you could get that width with. Okay.
That's good.
When you yeah. Okay. I knew it would end up there somehow. God damn it. Tell me my. Oh, okay.
I mean, $1,000 that's a pretty good deal. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But the problem is that ain't no Mac gonna drive that in the way that you're gonna want it to. This is gonna
I think it will. I think it'll stretch out the menu bar right across the top. It'll be in 1:1 pixel resolution. I don't think it'll do anything weird and stretchy, but
what are the connections though? That's the question.
You'd have to do, let's see,
because it's a gaming monitor and it's got NVIDIA Sync and NVIDIA G Sync and AMD FreeSync, so like it's going to interface really nicely with those GPUs. Of which,
so that remains to be seen how it would deal with Apple's built-in GPU. It would probably be fine with mine because I have an AMD GPU and the old Intel one. So, yeah, I see what you're saying there.
Like, does it connect via USB-C? Like, I
don't know. I think you'd have to do some kind of weird HDMI. Yeah.
Which even these current MacBook Pros can only do 4K at 60 hertz.
True. Also true. Have you seen the Matrix thing yet?
No, you were talking about.
Yeah, I watched that last night. It wasn't bad. Turned the Dolby Atmos on my the headphones I'm wearing now, the AirPods Pro, and I don't know.
Are those your pros or your threes?
These are the pros.
Okay.
Folks, does anybody out there, when you put headphones on, and if you have Atmos enabled headphones, does anybody experience anything other than just really nice stereo? I want to know, because it just sounds like really nice stereo to me. I don't know what I'm supposed to be hearing. Is it supposed to sound three-dimensional? Am I supposed to hear vertical height and stuff behind me? Because I don't. I don't think there's anything wrong with my ears. I think I have pretty good ears. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to be getting out of it that I'm not. If I have surround sound on in my home system, I can hear things behind me. But I think it takes, since you only have two ears, I think it takes that distance to be able to hear that stuff. So when it's right jammed up in my ear, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But
is it, because that's a good point. We've talked about this before in the show, and now as I'm hearing you describe that, both of our Apple TVs are hooked up to, Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos capable devices. I don't know that I would even know the difference. Isn't it like a combination of like high definition sound?
Yeah, so Atmos is you're supposed to be able to hear vertical height from it. So you're supposed to be able to hear things like if you're just watching it on a TV, like an OLED panel that's got Atmos speakers built in, you're supposed to be able to hear things projected above and then left and right. If you have a surround sound system, you could have up to 9 channels. You could have height in the front, height in the back, ear level in the back, ear level in the front, center channel speaker, subwoofer, and then hear it in 9 different places. To me, when you have it enabled that way and you have it on a speaker system, I can hear that. Just like I get my ears and my brain can perceive somebody walking behind me in real life. But here's a way to test it is if you turn your iPods Pro on transparency mode and somebody was walking behind you, do you think you could tell that was coming from behind you? You know what I mean? I don't think you could.
I could.
You think you could? Okay.
Yeah. Transparency mode for me is like supersonic. Like I tend to hear things better with that on.
Okay.
But I don't know that I paid attention to directionally, but I know that everything is just kind of like I hear things better usually when with it on. So,
okay. Yeah, see, maybe you'd have better luck with it then. I'm not really sure.
I don't know. I haven't even tried, honestly. Like we've had these features on the Pros for a long time and I've never tried and I haven't even cared to try. We talked about it once on the show and that was like my interest was piqued for like a few minutes and then showing it, I was just like, whoop, completely forgot.
You know what? Try it, but before we do the next show, just try it.
Okay.
On your AirPods, try it with Apple TV, and then go find one of those weird like Apple Music playlists or whatever, or even any movie that you maybe watch on like Netflix has got Atmos. Find something that's in their highest resolution and see if you can tell any difference. Because part of me thinks the cynical part of me thinks it's just a marketing gimmick sort of, and I don't know. Or they're diluting the Atmos brand in a way, by claiming it's on headphones. Because I can hear all that stuff when it's on speakers and they're all like 6 feet away from me, like I can hear the height, I can hear the reverse, I can hear an airplane whiz overhead and stuff like that, and it all works. But on the headphones, it was just like really nice, clear left and right stereo.
And did it feel spatialized at all?
Not really.
No. Okay. Because that I can hear. And I had it actually on my podcast app, and I actually decided to turn it off because I thought it sort of diluted the audio from that. But otherwise, like I watch all my YouTube videos with it on. It feels weird when it's off, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would imagine it's like Spatialized Plus, where it's like, but again, yeah, like you're saying, like how much can they really do when these two little tiny drivers placed in your
Right.
ears?
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what am I supposed to be experiencing that I don't feel like I am? I don't hear
Yeah,
the 360 degrees of it. So
yeah,
just curious. Just want to
it's
get
a good
your take
question.
on that.
Good question. Yeah, I'll have
Yeah.
to. You'd say the Matrix. What is it called? Resurrections is
Yeah.
the right movie.
Yeah, go check it out, everybody. Yeah, oh my god, we should come up with a nerd rating system for movies.
Oh, okay.
We don't have do we have a rating system? Don, we don't have a rating system. Like
We don't
a
even have a
one
rating system for the tech that we talk about.
I know. Why don't we have a rating system yet? Somebody's watching us right now live. We had some people earlier. We need a rating system. What should we call it? Put it in the chat.
Yeah.
What do we call?
Will be
Oh my
fitting of a super nerdy show like this.
Right. It doesn't even have to make sense. Does the Oscar really make sense with the Academy Awards? I don't know. Who's Oscar? I
It
forgot
does make
already.
sense with baloney.
What?
My baloney has a first name. It's Oscar. My baloney. Okay. That was a conversation that me and our trumpet playing colleague at work were having one day.
Yes.
He's like, "Do you even know that song?" I'm like, yeah.
I know why you guys were singing it because I started singing it with the dreidel song because I thought it bears a striking resemblance to the
It
dreidel song.
does. Oh my god, I didn't even think of that. This is a whole different. This is like
Right.
music nerd ensemble corner here.
Right, and possibly racist. So we'll get off of that. Anyway,
Casually, yes.
yes. No, I love the dreidel song. Actually, I have a great version of the dreidel song. Did I send it to you yet? I will later.
Yeah, I don't think you did.
Oh, it's so good. It's a big band version of it. It's so good.
Oh, good.
Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, we need a rating system.
Yes. We'll workshop that. We'll workshop that a little bit. I'm not big on New Year's resolutions, but I think we need to make every effort to keep we've been, evolving the show as time has gone on, but 2022 ought to be a big year for this year's show
Oh yeah.
show. I might have a new studio space.
Really?
In a few.
I just want callers. That's all I want. I want callers.
Well, can we do that?
We can. Oh yeah. I've been sharing the link. I don't know. I think you can have up to 10 people on the screen at once. It says when I show the link thing.
Right. So we would have to invite. We'd have to let them in, and then.
Yeah, I've been sharing that link publicly. Like, come on, click it, get on in here.
That would be fun.
I want to talk to people.
So we've definitely got some ideas for how we want to move the show in some new directions for 2022. And though we're not there, we don't have our year to look ahead show yet. That'll be our next show. That's gonna be the one that I plan. And we're gonna have this down like professionals, probably. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm putting you on solo because I'm trying to do something here real quick.
Okay. No, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure because I think it would tell me if you just dropped off the call or something.
Yeah.
At any rate, funny enough, I don't expect a whole lot of tech to be coming my way. I'll get your take on this, Brett. There was a brief moment. Well, actually, it was about a brief 1 week where I was like, okay, so I know I'm going to be returning these guys, okay? And I didn't get a new phone, and I didn't get a new iPad, Am I just gonna? Is that it? Is that it for me for the whole year? Now, granted, it's not like I went a whole year without purchasing any tech because, well, I do have this, my M1 MacBook Pro.
Hey, that's
13
no
inch.
slouch. That's pretty
Right.
good.
Right. But I'm like, this time last year, I had the 12 Pro Max. I had the Watch Series 6. There it is right there.
Mm-hmm.
Stainless steel. Dude, once you go stainless, you can't go back.
Yeah.
So that's a warning. That's a warning to you and to your wallet. That is a warning.
I'm staying with aluminum for as long as I can.
Okay. So that was what I was thinking as well. I could trade in this. I can trade in my Series 4, my night watch, pay the difference, and upgrade to a Series 7 stainless.
Something special's coming with the 8, though.
Then I could trade that for the 8.
Mm.
Now, or try to sell it, because from what I understand, the watches actually do tend to sell for pretty good value. Not trade in though. I mean, combined, I'd get less than $400 for the two watches that I have currently.
Right.
I
You'd
mean,
have to go eBay. Yeah.
Bad, but yeah, but I don't know that I trust eBay. I looked into that too, and I don't know. So I'm just like, what am I gonna do? I don't need to do anything. I mean, like I'm running my watch on theater mode much more nowadays to make it last a full day. It'll still last a full day even if I don't. But I mean, it's the sapphire. It's the sapphire crystal glass. That's what it is. My Series 4, granted, it's a 3-year-old watch now. It's it's been well used and well loved. The Ion X glass of that watch is just scratched like crazy. Nothing big, but it's definitely scratched up really good.
What kind of glass do I have on the 5?
That's aluminum, so that's going to be the same Ion X glass.
Okay.
It's scratched to hell. But this, I just get my glasses polishing microfiber little cloth right here. It's not the fancy Apple one.
I was just gonna ask.
No. And I just give it a good old wipe, and I can shine all sorts of lights on it, and from any direction. The sapphire crystal on this and on the Edition. That's it. That's the winner.
Done. But you made that leap. Now you can't go back.
Yeah. Just like I thought when I got these, I wouldn't be able to go back. You can tell it's the new one. See? It's got the little description in the bottom. I'm going to go back.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, this I wear. This is on my body all day, every day.
It's very personal. Very personal.
Right. And it was the whole reason I got the Series 4, because before I had the 4, I had the 3 that I ended up sending off to you. And it, like, this thing transformed my personal health. I mean, I've gone running all 4 days this week so far. Did I over the weekend? No. But like have I been eating badly? Yeah. But I don't think of it even as like I got the stainless. I thought, oh, this is gonna be nice to dress up and all. Whatever, doesn't matter. I've used this. I put the leather band on it one time, once. I wanted to dress it up. Turns out, I had a little bit too much to drink and I didn't even pay attention. So whatever. But the glass, man, like when I go and I look at the display on my Series 4, it's just like this thing it's fine, but this feels like a step up. And then the larger display on the Series 7, I'm like, oh, okay. So that's what I got. That's what I'm thinking as we sit here today.
Can I show you one weird piece of tech here before we go?
Please do.
And this is what I was telling you about, that I accidentally ordered 2 of them. Okay. Yeah, this is it here. Okay. So I'm going to turn this thing on. Look at that glorious 80s light show right there. Did you see that when I turned that on?
Oh, yeah, man.
Oh, yeah. So
they don't make them like that anymore.
Oh, my God. It's great. And a friend of mine turned me on to these, and they are the coolest thing ever. Okay. So what it does is it takes your music and it's an analog piece of equipment, but somehow the chipset in there, which is proprietary to this this DBX company, and they still make great sound stuff today, but they don't make these anymore. This thing is like anti-compression. So it finds all the dynamics and the details in your music and it extracts them out of there. And it sounds so much more lifelike. I can't even begin to tell you.
Like CD quality or better?
It would take anything that you put into it and make it more lifelike. So if you feed it a CD, it'll find something in the CD to bring out. Okay, it'll make greater dynamic contrast between louds and softs. You know how everything is engineered to sound like this volume today. And
True.
and it's like the only differences you hear are sort of perceived, like, oh, I know it's getting softer there because I know that, like, it sounds like it's getting softer. It sounds like they're trying to be softer right there, but it's really like gone down like this much because they maximize loudness on tracks now. And so whatever you feed into it, it will find and just anti-compress it. So they call it a range expander. And there's if you look these things up on like eBay or like various sites, they go for a mint, and I didn't pay a mint for this one. I was lucky to find this one. And it sounds awesome. I can't say enough nice about it. You just have to hear it in person. There's nothing I can do over over this that would like let you hear it. But so this amp that I have here, this is made by a company called Peachtree. And one thing that they do nice is they have a loop setting on here, which means, well, let me first put it to you this way. Like, why Peachtree amps sound so good is because they just go for like whatever goes into the system, be it CD or digital or whatever, like it plays exactly that. It doesn't add any bass to it. It doesn't add anything to it. It's just like you're getting pure sound. Okay.
Sure.
But they put this loop thing on here so that you could add something to it if you wished. Now, most people would add an equalizer to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you could like tailor your louds and softs. It's like, well, I'm going to go a different route with that button. So the first thing I added to it is up here. That's actually a headphone amp, but it's a tube powered headphone amp that I route the sound out through the loop into the tube headphone amp and back in to the Peachtree amp. And so it essentially acts as like a tube buffer. So I get a little bit of tube sound in there. And then today, when I got this delivery, I added this on there as well. So the sound goes out of the amp into the range expander, into the tubes, back into the amp, into the speakers. And so the sound is just like, it's so good. It's so good. But I can turn that off if I want to and just go back to straight, like, now it's like how it comes off the CD. Now it's running through my range expander and tube processor. So, or
That's
two.
cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And did you listen on headphones, or is that only through your shelf speakers?
So, well, I mean, I've got some headphones here with a 1/4 inch, so I could either like
Sure,
go
yeah.
directly from the tube amp, or I could go into the Peachtree and get all three things, putting their special juice on it. But right now, since nothing's plugged in there, they're going up through the bookshelf speakers, and it's wild. It's great.
What kind of bookshelf speakers do you have?
Klipsch.
Okay. Are they studio monitors?
No, they're. I mean, they're not powered. They're just regular passive bookshelf speakers. Let's see if I can get up there so you can see them, because I've modified those babies a little bit. Okay, you see something up there that looks like a trumpet bell aimed out?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's where my speakers are. So I'll show you what I've done there. Okay, hang on.
This is nerd ensemble type stuff right here.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, hang on. I'm gonna try to not knock my iMac over. Okay, so you see that trumpet thing sticking out there? Granted, there are multiple trumpet bells in this frame right here, but the one that's by the football, you see it up there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I've done is I've taken a bell and put it up to the tweeter.
I was gonna say, okay.
And so that also lets high pitched sounds ring a little bit more, because it's interfacing with that metal, and so just the tweeter blasting out into the room is one thing, but going through a little bit of that brass piping is another. Okay, and it's crazy because I bought I mean, those are pretty nice bells. But I didn't buy a trumpet bell. If you buy a trumpet bell, it's like $500. So I actually got those bells for $30 a piece. So I've got one on one side and one on the other bookshelf speaker. And yeah, I think they add a little bit to those bookshelf speakers. Now I've also there's some more speakers up there that I can't quite angle up to. So there's 4 speakers running, and it sounds good.
Do you have them all on the shelves, or do you have 2 on the other side behind your computer?
No, they're all up and behind me right now.
Okay, gotcha.
So they're all coming from the same direction.
And they're all, of course, hardwired.
They're all hardwired, yeah.
Yeah.
They're all hardwired.
I know you get better sound with wired, but putting them, like if you want
wherever you want to is nice too. Yeah, I had to drill some holes and feed some wire up to those spots and stuff like that, but that's okay.
That's cool that you added the bells. What kind of bells were those again? I did.
Okay, so they're these. I've got one upstairs.
Not like pocket trumpet.
No. They're not even from a trumpet. They're from. Do you remember those old? Like you could stick your iPhone in like a little passive thing that would play through the speaker of the iPhone and go through like a tube and come out, and it would sound louder, kind of like putting your iPhone in a bowl, and the bowl would magnify. Okay, so somebody took something, pieces of like leftover brass, I'm sure, and formed them into the shape of a trumpet bell, and you could slot your iPhone in it, and it would like magnify through there. Well, I found somebody that was still selling those. And so then I just cut the part off that the iPhone would sit in. And so basically you're left with just a trumpet bell. And then I put it right up to the tweeter there. I have a little pole that gets right up to the tweeter there. And the sound runs right through that. Nerdy stuff, man.
Wow, I would be curious to hear sometime what that's
Yeah,
like.
I'll have you over and so you can hear that.
Yeah, man. That's fascinating. I love that. Like who mods speakers, but like that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Uh,
I mean, it's all about what you can and can't afford. Because there's a lot that I can't afford, but I still have dreams. But I don't let that like limit me. I'm like, well, I'm never going to be able to afford a $12,000 speaker. But what do they do to make it? What do they make it do to sound that good? And so I started to see like, oh, a lot of them have brass tweeter cones, um, or they have like separate tweeters that are outside the actual speaker itself. So I started looking into what does that supposedly do, does it actually work, and then I just found a way to make my own cheap ass version of it.
I mean, hey, man, that's a fun,
Yeah.
engineering project. But man, it's funny. I know we had these conversations a lot. When I ended up getting my in-ear
Mm-hmm.
monitors, is like I totally started falling down that rabbit hole a little bit of like, oh, like what's the best,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's just like I had to stop myself and be like,
Yeah.
do I need this?
Since we're tacking this onto this episode here, and since a lot of people, we do get quite a few views after the fact, let me show you another company that makes really, really good audiophile sounding gear, but doesn't cost.
An arm and a leg.
Exactly. I was trying to think of my mind.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm here to back you up, buddy.
Let's see. Show this window. Have you ever heard of these guys before?
No,
Okay. The company is
but I
called
haven't looked into
Shit.
DAX too much. What?
Yeah. The company is
Oh
called Shit. And they're not German. They just wanted to say we sell nice shit. So that's
no,
the whole
no. Look at it. It says right there. Yes, that's her name. Shita.
What?
See, look at
Where?
yeah. Scroll down a little bit. Like it's right on the screen there.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
that is our name. Yeah, yeah.
Shit.
Shita.
Yeah. No, they don't
Shita.
even say shitta. It's just shit. Or they're just making a joke out of it. It's pronounced like, "Hey man, that's
Oh
some
yeah.
really
Okay.
good
Okay.
shit." See? Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
clever.
yeah. So I have what you see over there on my thing is where is it? Do they still make that? It's sort of like, yeah, this is the newer version right here.
Okay.
Nice tube headphone amp. But so what I do is because I have that loop feature on my amp, which lets you like plug in anything you want into the amp. So then I run it in and then back out into the amp. And then you get all the benefits of having a little bit of tube sound involved too.
Okay.
And tube sounds so what it does, why people hate it, if you're a modernist, is you don't like it because it adds a little bit of hiss in there, a tiny bit of hiss,
Okay.
and a little bit of distortion. But the reason you love it is because it adds a little bit of distortion to it. It actually is a physical object, and it rings a little bit depending on the tubes that you get. And you can interchange tubes if you have a tube amp, if they're compatible in a couple different ways. See, I've even bought different tubes for that thing, a little nicer quality tubes. And then if you get into this stuff, then you fall down that rabbit hole. You're like, well, where are the best tubes? And then you discover that, well, the Soviet Union made awesome tubes up until the 90s because they were so they were behind technologically and hadn't gotten it as into solid state. They were still using tubes. They were still making tubes. And it's like now it's like the Chinese are making tubes because they have a bunch of stuff that's still powered by tubes. Yeah. And then you fall down that rabbit hole of like which tube sounds better. Yeah, they make amazing stuff. Oh my God, they make EQs
That's
now?
cool.
Yeah, I didn't even know they made EQs.
Yeah, those prices do seem pretty reasonable.
They aren't bad, yeah, for getting
DACs.
into for DACs and headphone amps.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason. Like I was looking at like expensive in-ear stuff, like $600-$800 stuff for audiophile stuff, and it's just like I don't listen to enough music to justify paying that, which is sad, but that's the truth.
I bet you listen to $349 worth of music.
No, I really don't.
Okay.
I turn on Spotify on my phone every once in a while, and I get satiated. That's it. And that's why I was kind of glad that I kind of pulled myself back from the super. It's like, why don't I just be okay with my Sures here for a while and see how that goes? Because that's already a game changer, having the in-ears. But then, funny enough, like I would hook them up to my phone using the little lightning to 1/4 inch adapter or 1/8 inch adapter. This is like, oh, I like the sound, but it's not that much better to where like I'm like, oh, I want to be wired now.
Right.
Same reason why I've had my TV for 3.5 years now, and I've had, other than when I first got it, I've had zero reason to feel like I need to get a sound bar or a surround sound system.
Right.
I have this like 15-year-old Sony stereo that has RCA inputs, that I can turn on the aux channel, and it's Sony. I love the sound of Sony gear. So it's fine. It's great.
Yeah.
But this stuff, yeah, I know this stuff would be like, I think that's why I try to avoid it, because I know it'd be just totally amazing.
Oh man. It's so much
I'm sure
fun.
with what you got, with what you have, it's just like, it takes, like, what were you listening off of when you were listening with your new thing? Like, do you have
okay. So I run a giant USB cable out of my iMac down into the floor, into the basement, and then I run it back up behind this built-in straight into the Peachtree amp, which has its own DAC. So I plug, it goes right, the USB cable goes right from the iMac right into the DAC in the Peachtree amp. And so I can send it, I think, like 96 kilohertz uncompressed.
Oh, nice.
So I can, like on Apple Music, I can get the fullest 24-bit 96K resolution, let's see, pretty much twice or better than CD quality sound. So we're like in like the old range of like SACDs. I think it might even be higher than SACDs.
Okay, so that's a big jump.
Yeah. So the lossless, like 24-bit 96 kilohertz stuff.
Wow.
And it sounds great.
All over USB-A, huh?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. Unless it's downgrading it and I don't even know it on the way over, but I have that little app that most Mac users probably don't even really know it's there, which is the audio MIDI setup.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So let's see. Mac users, if you don't know that it's there, it is this guy right here. So I was in there goofing around with it the other day. Okay, yeah. All right. So what is it currently sending? Okay. Yeah, I have it set to 24-bit 44. So actually, every once in a while, it'll switch itself back down to a lower bit rate. I'm going to set it back to 24-bit and see if I make it angry.
I haven't played this too much. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay. So I know. Okay. That's why. Every once in a while, I set, the Mac has its like beeps and system sounds.
Yeah.
I have that going through the iMac speakers, and only music is going out to the Peachtree. And I think sometimes that pisses it off because it wants both of them to be the same. And it goes, oh, okay, we'll just switch this one back down.
Oh yeah, you might need a. You should. Have you heard of Audio Hijack?
Yes, and actually use something kind of like that.
I'm wondering if. I mean, obviously, the built-in thing that you're just using like is a start.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I downloaded the trial for Audio Hijack, and played around with it a little bit. And
try this one. Let's see if I. Oh, it's not gonna let me show it. There's one called Sound Source. Have you ever played around with that?
I've heard of it. I've never played around with it.
Yeah, let's see if I can. No, it's really tiny on the screen. I can't make it any bigger.
I see it though.
Okay, yeah, but you got your different inputs here, and you can tell it where you want it to go, right? So sound effects. Oh, okay. So when I plugged in the AirPods Pro, everything went to that. But I could set it to come out the iMac speakers, or go to the Peachtree, or go to this other stupid Samsung monitor that I got sitting right next to me.
That's really cool. So like, then you can set it by application, which is great. So like you listen to music off.
Right. Each thing could be going to its own thing.
And that's really clever, especially if it like you automatically do that.
Mm-hmm. And you can set effects for each one too. Like I could, like for music, you could equalize it, or you could run it through some of the other like
the built-in stuff.
Yeah. Which gets kind of crazy. I don't really dig that too much.
That's cool.
Bye, Sound Source. See ya.
That's really cool.
That's fun. So that was Brett's audio nerd corner for a little while right there.
Hey, that's exactly the kind of stuff that we need around here, man.
Yeah.
That is exactly the kind of stuff that we need. Yeah, I just I dreamed of that kind of stuff when I was younger. Like, how do you have all this stuff? But like the older,
you just go one piece at a time. Like I actually started with the headphone amp, and then I was like, oh my God, this does actually sound great. Like there is something to this this audiophile stuff, and that's even like the lowest rung of audiophileness. I mean, they're rich idiots out there that spend like $20,000 on a DAC. I mean, let alone an amp. You know what I mean? And so then I got the Peachtree amp, and I was kind of not satisfied with it. I was kind of like, they do such a great job of making it exactly like whatever is on the CD or whatever is on the record or whatever's your MP3 is. Like, there's absolutely no influence in there. Like, people get all over beats because they add bass to it or they like manipulate the sound a little bit. Peachtree is just straight whatever it is. I was kind of bored with that a little bit, but then I added that old 1980s expander on there, and it's like, holy shit, like everything came alive. It just sounded great.
That's awesome, man. I mean,
yeah, and that expander, I mean, it sent me back $150, you know, so
but I
it's
mean, for the price, I mean,
yeah, that's all it was. It was $150, you know. So
have you ever tried like serious like high-end headphones? I know you those are what are those headphones that you have
those
now?
are just Harman Kardon,
Yeah.
probably like $150. I mean, they're nothing like super duper. No, I've never had like a $1,000 pair of headphones on.
Yeah,
Have
then
you?
like the difference between the difference
Yeah.
between closed back and open back and
Yeah.
like
No.
man, dude, it's crazy. Like I can just imagine like, you know, in my brief foray into like consumer level stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um when I ended up with my now broken Sonys and the Mark IVs and all that stuff, like still that's compressed consumer level stuff. Like I knew that like if I started down that rabbit hole, I was like, oh, I would never want to go back. But then you got to have all this gear,
Mm-hmm.
and for me, it's like I want the best sounding stuff that I can carry on my person because I'm I don't
You're
sit
more
at this
mobile. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't sit at the most amount of time in a month that I sit at this desk now is talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So it's cool that you have the space, you have your domain
Mm-hmm.
there, you know, and you've got all your stuff, and you, like this is where you go. This is your studio.
Mm-hmm.
Um.
And for as tall
So
as it looks, this is a tiny room. This is actually a very tiny room. I know it's got like the
sure,
nice wood behind me, but it's like I've got like like 3 feet going that way, and it's like a foot behind me. It's like it's a very narrow
it's an
space,
office.
but it's
Like
an
that is,
office. Yeah,
it's an
yeah.
office. That's the only thing you would use. But it is you've got your own
Mm-hmm.
separate office. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, one of the podcasts that I listen to, Mac Power Users, um, they just their most recent episode was talking about how they have transformed their studio spaces,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, the one guy who owns a podcasting company, it's like Relay FM,
Mm-hmm.
big company. he's he had a small like shed in the back of his yard that he converted into, you know, a workspace, and then this past summer he added on to it. So he's got like a full 2-room studio that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just walks out into the backyard. When you're dealing at the level that those guys are, sure,
Mm-hmm.
like great. And then the co-host, you know, works out of basically his like dining room that they converted half of into.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like they're both like much different spaces, similar realm,
Mm-hmm.
but they both are really happy with their spaces,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So it's like it's not the size of the space. It's not how big it is. It's how you use it. Um,
Right. Right. Oh shit.
yeah, you know. So, and I mean, my space here is just in the middle of my living space. This is it, you know. So it's just it is what it is.
I just activated Bach's violin solo number 2 in D minor BWV 1004 by accidentally tapping on. You didn't hear it, but I did.
No, is that running off the Nova?
No, it was going in the just. I think it just going straight to the headphones. Huh. Anyway.
Well, I probably sounded a lot better than me. I can say that confidently. Well, that was a really nerdy little jump, Brett. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, man.
I don't know. Maybe I can find. Well, I have the lighting component. You have the fancy audio. Stuff.
I that red lamp is killing me back there. I love it.
Yeah, and I can.
Where's
I can
the
make
green?
them all red.
Where's the green one at?
Right. My light strip up there.
Oh yeah,
one of them. And then my little desk lamp right here.
Oh, you got a desk lamp too?
I've got two of them. So, years ago, my first teaching job, my coworker came in with these really cool looking, like Japanese inspired IKEA.
Oh lamps. Yeah. I love those. Yeah.
Of course, you can't get them anymore because these things are now 13 years old, and they work fine. But I mean, the shades are just totally like ripped to shreds, and they're not showpieces anymore. And I just loved them, so I went out and got a pair and just held on to them. They were in my office at work, and then they moved with me to multiple places. I can't find a similar replacement for them. But of course, when I started doing the Philips Hue thing, these two have the red light behind me. Let's see if I can properly point. Right there we go. Yep. Not the same lamp, but I got a Hue bulb, and I've got in my kids' area over here. There's a Hue bulb over there. My bathroom over there. There's two Hue bulbs in there. Behind the TV, there's a Hue bulb. I could do some of that color stuff if I set it up right
with the TV, so it could with the whatever's on the screen.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I could do that. I don't have it set up. I don't even bother. And then I've got So in this my living areas here, I've got a total of 10 Hue bulbs. And then, of course, the light strip up there. That light strip used to be behind my TV, but then I got the little Hue Play thing. And I debated on getting one or two. I just got one, and it does the job just fine. But there are so many people that have gone a million degrees farther than I have with these, but they're fun. This was a little holiday setting in the app.
That's awesome.
There's some built-in stuff. You can make your own, of course. And they redid the app. Here's one called Color Burst.
I like it.
It's supposed to look like fireworks. If you could see the whole room, each lamp is a different color. And you can add it to your scenes and do stuff like that. So now it's going to switch back to what I had. Here's crystalline.
Yeah.
So the one that I use, and of course I have some of these set up with HomeKit, so I can say, "Hey Siri, set concentrate."
That's nice.
So it's a pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that.
All the lamps are fired at 100%. I also do have a Hue dimmer switch in the bathroom. So this space, we have regular LEDs sitting in the ceiling. You can see one right up there that are by the switch over there. Those don't have Hues in them.
Okay.
I just have those as a backup. You can flip the switch, turn those on. But in the bathroom, I replaced I just put up the Hue dimmer switch and just switch press on and off. I can also tell Siri, "Hey Siri, turn the bathroom on."
That's pretty
It
neat.
does all that. Another fun one. This is called Read. So much warmer. Here's
Yeah,
Relax. Warmer and dimmer.
Right. Is there like a movie setting or something you can tell it? Oh,
So
that's
I
cool. Yeah.
created, this is Nightlight. This is another built-in one. This is Dimmed. Bright. Here's Energize. So much cooler. Scene. And I have, so there's a bunch of new ones here. So I created one. Here's one called Motown.
Nice.
You know, it's kind of cute. It's kind of fun.
That's
Here's
cool.
Savannah Sunset.
Also good.
Here's Spring Blossom. Not
little
bad.
purpley. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a little bit of that. Here's Midwinter. But then I went and made one. This is theater mode. So it's kind of on the orangey side, and everything's at like 20-ish%. So you can see a little bit. You can make your way around.
Yeah.
Without stumbling on stuff. And I can see my OLED TV. Just great.
That's awesome.
Here is Arctic Aurora.
Okay.
It's supposed to be like Aurora Borealis-ish.
Gotcha. Yep.
This one is not going to work properly, but this is supposed to be like a black theme, like blacklight theme. And it's not totally not doing the right colors right now. I need to go in and change it to set all of them, because this is like, you can go in, and what's great about the app is you can like go in and you can like match all of them. You can like literally drag the different lights.
Do you end up screwing up the presets if you do that, or can you set it back?
Well, I can change. Yeah. So this is all within that black setting. So right now, all of the lamps are the same color and the same hue and the same brightness level. So what's great about it is like in the app itself, you can go through and you can like literally drag. See how it says 9 right there? I can literally drag the different lights around, and I can create different things like that.
That's awesome.
And I can match the brightness level of all of them too, so that way like it matches each other. So to give it kind of a black light feel, right now like everything is up to full brightness on like a black light setting.
That looks awesome.
And then I just click edit scene, and I can like,
it makes me wonder why like a really high end, or maybe they do, like a really high end club, do they have just a whole bunch of hue lights?
No, because they have like fancy like projector headlight lights and stuff too.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, they don't. Yeah, they get like this is like the consumer grade stuff,
Got it.
which is cool. I mean, obviously it's a lot of fun, but I don't even know if I can go back to what I had before. Silent Night. Whoa.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty orange.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think
That's awesome, man. Well, we both had our own exposition corner here today. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, we better call it a day because our 30-minute podcast for tonight has gone almost 2 hours. And
this is this not the longest show we've done? I feel like this
it
is
might
one
be.
of the longest shows.
It might be.
It might be. It could be. It is.
Holy cow, everybody. Steve Stone, everybody.
Harry Carey here at beautiful Wrigley Field.
It's the third inning, and I'm already stone drunk, Steve. Holy cow.
Hey, everyone. Have a Budweiser.
Yeah.
All
right.
Yeah, I don't miss that at all. So on our next show, we're going to have our kind of 2022 preview and what our hopes and wishes for our Apple products.
We're going to Apple calendar that bitch too. So all of our predictions are going to go in so we can see next year how absolutely wrong we were. We would also like your predictions too, folks. So feel free to call in or even join in the chat. How much of this stuff can you see now? Can you see the chat? Can you see where James was talking to us?
Right now, I cannot. Comments, yes. So when I click on this screen, yes,
now you can see
it.
Okay, cool.
Yep. But I actually tend to run it full screen, only because I have the one screen and
right.
It's easier for me to see that way. But yeah, in the future, maybe I can expand to have a secondary monitor where I can monitor that stuff.
I wonder if we can get a guest for next time. I wonder if we can.
That'd be fun.
Let's work on it. We'll brainstorm some ideas. See if we can get somebody to pop in there.
Either way, whether we get a guest or we it's just the two of us, we're going to talk about 2022. We can certainly kind of do a quick year in review of 2021 and then kind of project forward, because we're forward thinking people. We just want we want to celebrate what's here, but we want to look ahead and be excited about what's next.
Right.
So that's what we're going to do.
Sounds good, sir.
Well, man, and to all of you out there, have a safe, happy, healthy, and fun holiday season. Brett, to you, sir, it's been a blast as always, and I hope your family as well, and you guys have a wonderful holiday. All right, everybody. Well, that will do it for us tonight, and we will talk to you before New Year's to really talk about our 2022 predictions and 21 year in review. So be well. We'll see you very soon, and take care. Bye, everybody. Bye, Brett.